What's up guys, Onmaths here, and today we're looking at Venn diagrams. So I'm going to go straight in with the OCR question that asks us to draw a Venn diagram. Now Venn diagrams will always have this box here. Now this box basically contains everything for our Venn diagram, and this little symbol here which looks like an E, and I always remember it as everything. So that represents everything in our Venn diagram. So nothing exists that we're looking into outside this box. Okay, so this box contains all of our participants, or all of the population, or all of whatever it is that we're looking at. So we've got 72 children, so therefore all 72 children will be in this box. Everyone who's not one of those 72 children will be outside of this box. And they either have a laptop, an iPad, both, or neither. Okay. So we first of all need to draw two circles, one for the laptop and one for the iPad. But to show both, we need the circles to overlap. Okay, and I am not the best at drawing circles, but I'm going to try my best. Always make sure there's a nice healthy overlap when you do Venn diagrams. And a lot of students use compass for Venn diagrams, which is probably a good idea, but it will break my little tablet here if I push a compass on it. Okay, so we need to label them. So I'm going to have laptop on the left and iPad on the right. And it says 31 people have a laptop. And we're assuming that means just a laptop. And we would be wrong assuming that, because it doesn't say 31 just have a laptop. It says 31 have a laptop. So they could either be in the middle group or just on the left hand side. So we've got to be really careful. The easiest ones to label first are the both, because that'll be a nice 12 in the middle there, and neither. Now the 5 that are neither just go anywhere inside the rectangle, because all 72 children have to be inside the rectangle, but just not in a circle because they don't have a laptop or an iPad. Okay, now this laptop circle has to add up. So this circle here has to add up to 31, because 31 students have a laptop. But we know where 12 of them are already. So what we do is we just simply do 31, take away the 12 that we know about, and that leaves, 19? So the 19 will be here. And same thing with the iPad. We know that there are 48 students in this circle, and so we just need to take away the 12 that have both, and that leaves 36. So it'd be 36 there. So it's easy to make mistakes with this, because probably the most common mistake will have 31 on the left hand side and 48 on the right hand side. But when it says that they have a laptop, it's not saying that they only have a laptop. And if it says 31 students only have a laptop, then that would make sense. And a way of checking your answer at the end is that all 4 of those numbers have to add up to 72, which they do. If I wrote 31 here and 48 here, they wouldn't add up to 72. Okay, next question. One of the students, or one of the children, is chosen at random. Write down the probability that they have an iPad but not a laptop. So we simply ask ourselves with this question, how many students have an iPad but don't have a laptop? So it's this one here. Okay, those 12 in the middle also have a laptop, so it's going to be 36. And the next question is, how many students are there altogether? Well, it says in the question there are 72 children altogether, so it would be 36 over 72. Now the question doesn't ask you to simplify, but obviously that would be equal to a half, because 72 is 36 times 2. Next we move on to AQA, where there's Aidan has drawn a Venn diagram but badly, and we've got to criticise what's wrong. And the first thing that jumps out immediately is that this 12 here is outside that rectangle, and as I said in the previous question, it needs to be inside the rectangle. So something like the 12 should be inside the rectangle. The next thing that jumps out is that there's nothing in this overlap here. Now, you do sometimes get Venn diagrams that don't have an overlap, but then you would draw them without an overlap like that, and have 7, 3, and 12. But what's odd about this question is that when you add up the numbers, they add up to 22, but there's only 20 people. So we know that there must be an overlap. Probably there's going to be a list in the mark scheme of various things you could say, and I'd probably stick with the fact that all three of these numbers don't add up to 20, they add up to 22. So I'd probably say the amounts in the Venn diagram add up to, what did I say, 22? Not 20. You could probably say that there should be a number in the overlap as well. I suppose the last thing we could say is that we don't really know anything about the 20 people. Are they students in a class or whatever? So we could maybe take that angle, but I would stick with the two that I've suggested. They seem the most obvious. Last up is our Edexcel question, and this question is all about just sitting and doing this question. And there's a few tips I can give you just to make sure you don't make mistakes, because it's so easy to miss a number or two when you do this. We're given our universal set, like the E for everything, is even numbers between 1 and 25. Now, I know this takes a little bit of time, but I would definitely write those down because we can cross them off as we go along. So I know that in the pressure of the exam, time is really important, but what would be more annoying is you get through this entire question and you've missed one of the numbers out, and you don't get full marks. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through each number and figure out where in the Venn diagram it is, and we're going to cross them off as we go. So the 2, first of all, is in A but isn't in anything else, so we put that there. Next, the 4 isn't in any of the A, B or C, so that'll go on the outside. The 6 is in B. The 8 is in all 3, so that's going to go in the middle. The 10 is just in A. The 12 isn't in any of them, so that's going to go on the outside. The 14 is in A. The 16 isn't in any of them. 18 is in C. 20 is in B and C. So B and C, so there's a 20 there. 22 is just in C. And 24 isn't in any of them. Now, if you have a bit of time, you could just count how many numbers there are between 1 and 25 that are even, and then check that they're all there, but they're definitely all there. So just spending a little bit of time writing out the numbers there has helped us massively with this question. Without doing that, this is a really difficult question because you're having to keep all the numbers in your head, and if you imagine in the exam you're actually pretty stressed already, you don't want to be doing that. So the final question asks us to find the probability that the number chosen at random is a member of A and then this kind of weird symbol B. Well, we've got to know about these symbols, and there's a really nice way of remembering them. So the 2 symbols that you'll likely have in these questions are this and this. Okay. Now what I do is I imagine putting a line through this, and I remember that as and. Now I've put that as lowercase, but it's A for and. Okay. This U, it means union, and this means or. Now the or means that, so say if this was A or B, it means it can be in A, it can be in B, or it can be in both. Okay. The A and B, this one here, means it must be in both. Must be in both. Okay, So when it's that way around and you can put a line through it and it's A for and, okay, it must be in both. So it has to be in A and B. Now, I didn't really highlight this before, but this is a different type of Venn diagram. You have two different types. You have ones with just single numbers that say how many there are in each part of the Venn diagram. And you have ones that actually write down the numbers or objects or whatever in the Venn diagram. So I can convert this into the other type that we've been doing with the previous question. So in just A, there's 3 numbers. In the middle bit, there's just 1 number. In this bit, there's 1 number here, 2 numbers there, and 4 numbers there. Okay, and be careful to do this in this question, because the examiner might be thinking you're putting in those numbers. So I'm really only doing this to illustrate to you. So don't do this on the real exam. Is to write these numbers in. Okay, so how many are in A and B? Well, A and B is this bit here. Okay. So looking at the diagram, there's only 1 number in there, that 8. Okay. And how many numbers are there in total? Well, we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 in total. So there's 1 over the amount in total, which is 12. So there's 1 that we're looking for, that 8, and there's 12 numbers, including the 8, all together. Well, I hope you found today's video useful. If you did, please click like. If you want to see more from us, we release videos every single weekday, Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just click subscribe and the bell icon to make sure you're up to date with all the videos we release. If you want to see even more from us, which I'm sure you do, click on the link at the top. It'll take you straight through to our website, onmaths.com, which is packed full of completely free resources to help you with your math study. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.